The controversial far-right Dutch politician has reiterated his pledge to de-Islamize the Netherlands after his Freedom Party forms the next government. With 5 weeks to go until the elections, Geert Wilders stepped up his campaign with anti-Islam and anti-Muslim slogans. In an interview with a public broadcaster, he also vowed to close mosques and ban the Holy Qur'an from bookstores. He said that he would ask the electorates to rise up if other parties deny him his 11-point manifesto that includes de-Islamization of the Netherlands and shutting the country's borders to refugees. The euro-skeptic politician also hinted about imitating the changes brought by Brexit and the new U.S. administration. Dubbed by the media as the Dutch Trump, Wilders has taken lead in recent opinion polls. However, other parties say they won't work with Wilders in a coalition even if he wins the election.
We are used to politicians who...
Head of the Islamic Human Rights Commission, Mr. Masood Shajara, joins us now from the British capital, London. Mr. Shajara, welcome to the program. Looking at the comments and slogans made by Mr. Geert Wilders, these are quite worrying and questionable comments made by someone who's seeking office. However, we see that comments of the similar nature brought Donald Trump into office.
Well, it's nothing unusual from Mr. Wilders to hear this sort of sentiment. But what is really concerning is that why is it that such a fascist ideology are being promoted and allowed to become legitimized, not just in Holland and elsewhere, United States, and indeed even France. And the reality is that we are seeing the rise of fascism on the back of Islamophobia and hatred of Muslims. And this is extremely worrying because this sort of level of demonization always leads to genocide and ethnic cleansing. And we see the signs of that in the statements by Mr. Wilders. And I think the international community and indeed the community in Europe need to rise up and protect against this sort of fascism. And I have to reinstate that this sort of fascism will not be only against the Muslim community, it will eventually go far beyond.
Well, he says that he wants to close mosques and ban the Holy Qur'an from bookstores. That's as extreme as it can get. Do you think that comments like the ones that Geert Wilders is making will also fuel the flames of an already tense environment of hate that we're seeing now spreading in Europe as well?
In the environment of hate, which is being daily promoted and amplified by politicians like Mr. Wilders and others, by legislation that comes out and the rhetorics that goes on and the media, the way that is actually portraying it. I have to say that if such statements were made against the Jewish community, there would have been an international outcry. But it seems that quite legitimate. And indeed, Mr. Wilders knows that he will get popularity out of this. And this means that we are living in a very genuine and dangerous environment of hate that needs to be tackled. It's not just individuals, but that environment. And politicians and media have got the greatest responsibility. And I think this is something that not only should be tackled on the national basis, but internationally. I mean, we're hearing very little from United Nations. We are hearing very little from EU. We are hearing very little from human rights organizations like Amnesty and Human Rights Watch. We are now seeing the instrument of genocide and ethnic cleansing in this level of promotion of hatred. Unfortunately, the silence is deafening.
Thank you, sir. Head of the Islamic Human Rights Commission, Masood Shajara, joining us from the British capital.